T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Women's Wrestling Talk. This is the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet, and of course, you already know it's Friday Night SmackDown, and of course, it's Rampage. Of course, we got the blue background going on, as always, representing the blue brand on Fridays, as I am a free agent. I am the EIC of WWE, Driune, Santana, and of course, I'm here with my co-host, Stephanie, Queen Steph Hardy of the Hardy Podcast. How you doing tonight, Stephanie?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Pretty solid Friday night of wrestling going on. There's a lot of, different roads. We got one road headed to Revolution and another road still headed to WrestleMania. Pretty long road, but it's okay because we're almost there.
We have 29 days to WrestleMania. And it is going to be absolutely amazing. But we only have 2 days until we get to AEW Revolution that's taking place in Florida. So let's go ahead and jump right in with Friday Night SmackDown, of course. We're jumping right in, starting with the show. We had like 30-second promos take place by half of the locker room. Paul Heyman, Ronda, Sonya, the Usos.
The Viking Raiders.
And then I think we ended it off with Sami Zayn right before he went into his match with Ricochet for the Intercontinental title. And this was obviously Sami was holding the title. But this match was actually really, really good. It wasn't a bad match, honestly. But of course, Sami Zayn lost. But Ricochet had a little assistant from Johnny Knoxville who made his appearance tonight in Florida. And basically he cost Sami the title. So now we have a new Intercontinental Champion, Ricochet, with Sami Zayn on Johnny Knoxville shirt. And I mean, honestly, if anybody knows about the news-wise, Vince McMahon, there were rumors of saying that Vince McMahon was going to give Ricochet a push, and obviously this was it. But it kind of sucks because Sami Zayn only held this title for like 2 weeks, and that was it. So it's like, dang, when is Sami going to be able to catch a break? Will he get his title back from Ricochet? How long is Ricochet going to hold this title? Your thoughts, Stephanie, on this opening of tonight?
Well, let me just say I love it when either one of the shows open, with promos as opposed to like having one person standing in the ring and saying, "Oh, welcome to Raw, welcome to SmackDown, and we're going to do this," because it's really fresh and I like that. This match between Sami and Ricochet started off kind of hot, right? Because Ricochet was just trying to take advantage of any and all, openings that Sami left open for him in order to try to pin him. But it was still great because you had Ricochet, hitting all of his signature flips. He even flipped over the top rope onto Sami Zayn. And it was just something that you would expect, your average amazing gymnast to do. Like, he was just acting like Simone Biles tonight. He was not playing any games. And even though Johnny Knoxville came out there, to mess with Sami Zayn and get in his head with the whole Intercontinental Chump t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still worked because Sami, didn't keep his eye on the ball. And, that's just how it works. All is fair in love and wrestling is what I always say. And Ricochet covered him, and now we have a new Intercontinental Champion, and I'm so glad because
Yeah.
Ricochet. I've been saying for weeks that I've wanted better for Ricochet, and now we
Mm-hmm.
have it, and it's here, and I'm so happy for him. Plus, on top of that, he got to win the championship in front of Samantha Irving, his ring announcer girlfriend. So that was cool. I'm
Yeah,
happy for
like
him.
you introduce your man before a match, and then you get to like say like Andy knew like your man is a champion now. So like I think
Right.
Samantha might be a little bit of his good luck charm. Honestly, truly. I see the comments saying justice for Sami.
Oh Lord.
Nikki saying boo.
Oh
This is
Lord.
all a conspiracy. Sami was screwed. Sami needs to leave and go to Impact. I think that'll be very interesting to see Sami in Impact. Sami says, which Sami is one of our writers here, Women's Wrestling Talk, said that I want them to do a unification match between Ricochet and Finn. That match would have hit instead of Brock and Roman. Well, Brock and Roman are a little bit bigger than Ricochet and Finn Balor, honestly, if that's how a lot of people tend to look at it.
Mhm.
I think I would rather keep the titles, the United States Championship and the Intercontinental title kind of separate, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
We need those mid card titles. We really do.
Mhm.
Ricochet, Chad said Ricochet is the ball. Joseph said that this was a nice surprise. Unpredictably can be fun, although it makes you wonder they made Nakamura's reign look stupid. Yeah, I mean, they kind of just. I mean, he came King Nakamura, then he came into the champion, and then it's just like he was doing some tag team stuff. So Nakamura, and we're gonna get into Nakamura because we already know what happened when he came up, but we're gonna get to it. I know that's right. Definitely is, and of course, guys, yeah, I mean it is a comedic match for WrestleMania. I know which night it's going to be because even after the match took place, and we got backstage wise, I mean, Sami was not happy. He was throwing things around, he was slanging stuff, and
Mhm.
he said that Johnny Knoxville, I want you for WrestleMania. And guess what? He's getting Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania on night 2. So it is definitely happening. We're having Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn on night 2 of WrestleMania. So Stephanie, do you think Sami is going to be able to avenge himself, or is Johnny Knoxville going to pull out some stunts?
Well, I believe it's kind of, I don't want to say obvious, but you can kind of predict that Johnny Knoxville is going to come out of the woodworks with a lot of stunts because he alluded to that, in his
It is.
interview time with Caleb Braxton. So if he does, it's going to be pretty lit. And I'm glad he's kind of going into it and not being afraid. But Sami really did look livid. Like
Yeah,
he looked absolutely furious tonight. So
I
he
agree.
really might just go crazy on him and just be like, yeah, no, I'm going to destroy you, Johnny. Like you've been messing with me for too long. So Sami might just bring his A game to this match. And considering he's the veteran and Johnny Knoxville has never wrestled before, he
Mhm.
has the upper hand in that match. But it's going to be lit regardless. It's WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. And Nikki, our senior writer and one of our hosts here, Women's Wrestling Talk, said that Sami more than Shinsuke. Sami could have easily won, and Ricochet could have been his opponent at WrestleMania. Shaking my head, this is crazy. Yeah, he really, really could have been his opponent for WrestleMania, and I think that I think it would have been a pretty decent match. I mean, let Ricochet could have won at WrestleMania or something. It could have been a bigger moment in that, but. It is what it is. We have a new champion, and it's just so happened to be Ricochet. So let's see how they're going to incorporate him. Maybe he'll get a WrestleMania match because WrestleMania cards is starting to grow a little bit, and I mean, I'm here for it. Like, let's
Me
get
too.
Ricochet on WrestleMania, defend his title, and whoever his opponent would be. As we move on to after the fact, I mean, speaking of a match that got added to WrestleMania. I mean, this was after everything that had transpired. I mean, Pat McAfee had Vince McMahon on his show last week. Well, actually Thursday.
Yeah, it was
I think
Thursday.
Wednesday, one of them. He had him on the show this past week, and Vince alluded to maybe asking Pat if he would like to step into the ring for WrestleMania. A lot of people thought that maybe Pat McAfee was going to go against Vince McMahon. That was not the case. We got a surprise visit from none other than Vince McMahon protege, Austin Theory, who called out Pat McAfee and smacked him aside his head. And Pat McAfee was not here for it. He called him a little, you know what, and a bunch of other you know whats that we cannot use that terminology here at Women's Wrestling Talk. But if you watch the show, you definitely understood exactly what was said. And of course, it was made official. We're going to have Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory at WrestleMania, but we don't know which night it is going to be just yet. However, we've seen Pat McAfee in the ring. If you have watched NXT and you've seen him in War Games when he had like Pete Dunne, basically the whole UK clicked with him in War Games, which they did not win, but he held his own in that ring against the Undisputed Era. So I mean, hey, I'm here for it. I'm interested in seeing how this is going to go. I like Pat McAfee when he's upset. I felt like I draw my eyes to that man. I was like, okay, I like when he was that. Like it was a fun moment. What did you think about this and it's being a part of WrestleMania now, Stephanie?
I'm really excited because I actually watched the interview that he had with Vince McMahon yesterday, and
Mhm.
it was such a great interview. Like I loved it, and you could tell on his own show that when Vince told him that he was going to have a match at WrestleMania, like
Mhm.
it lit up his world. He was so happy. And to see him kind of go from having his first match, I remember with Adam Cole, in that singles match that one time in NXT, to now fighting at WrestleMania against someone like Austin Theory, who a lot of
Mhm.
people tout as possibly the future of
Yeah.
wrestling or the future of WWE. Like I think it's going to be really good. And tonight it was just so dramatic, but it was still really good because it's just like you had Austin Theory jaw jacking at him, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden he smacked the headphones off his head. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then it was broken, and then Pat was visibly irritated by it. He was just like, I like he was saying them with his whole chest. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, Jesus, okay. And it was kind of sad because he was kind of taking out his, frustrations on Michael Cole because of some
Yeah.
stuff that Vince McMahon said during the interview, which I think was really a joke, but not really like something for real, for real. But Pat McAfee can get really serious, when he's upset.
Mhm.
And I'm really looking forward to how intense he's going to be towards, Austin Theory. So I'm really excited for him and for this match. Like this WrestleMania is making me really excited. I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's getting very, very interesting. And like I said, with this being my first WrestleMania that I am going to be going to, there are a lot of things that are going to be transpiring. And speaking of a lot of things that are transpiring, we found out last week that we have a new tag team. Naomi and Sasha Banks are officially a tag, and they will be challenging Zelina Vega and Carmella for those women's tag team titles at WrestleMania. However, on tonight, to kick everything off, we had Naomi versus Carmella. And I mean, with how could you not like enjoy this match itself? Honestly, truly. Like how could you not? I mean, we had Naomi and Sasha come out, obviously Sasha was challenging her inner Naomi. They had similar looks going on. A lot of people were pretty, were fans of what they were wearing. And I mean, I thought it was a little cute. It was a little fun, little cute thing to go on for that night. The match, it was pretty good. Zelina Vega thought that she was going to try to get herself involved in some kind of way, but unfortunately, that did not happen because Sasha Banks, the boss, caught her red-handed. And I mean, look, they look kind of cute. Maybe it was just a one night thing. Who knows? Maybe next week Naomi may challenge her inner boss or something. I think it's kind of cute, kind of fun thing that they're kind of doing and whatnot. What did you think about this match in particular? And of course, the most beautiful woman in WWE and Queen Zelina behind her with this match for the night.
I liked the match. The match was pretty good, even though sometimes I do find myself getting a little bit irritated at Carmella and this mask thing going on. Like, girl, you know what time it is. You know you a wrestler. Just get in there and just do it, right? But
Yeah.
even as she was being distracted with the mask, Naomi was just like, "Look, forget that," and
Yeah.
she hit her up with all kinds of kicks and everything. Like Naomi was
Mhm.
just in her regular her regular amazing form. So I
Yeah.
wasn't mad at that. And I just love the match. And
Mhm.
I also loved how before that they sort of insinuated at some dissension between Carmella and
Mhm.
Queen Zelina, because it seemed like Carmella wasn't really that focused on defending the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania because
No.
she's ready to get married, right? Because
No,
on
she's
her
probably gonna do more than get married. She's trying
I
to do a recreation of something that should have never taken place on national television.
Yeah, that's true. She did say that.
Mhm.
But tonight she was saying that she was ready for her wedding day,
Mhm.
which is scheduled to take place a little bit after WrestleMania. And Queen Zelina looked like she was like, "Girl, if you don't get your head in the game," like that's what her
Right.
whole face said. But it was almost like if you know kind of thing. Like if you
Mhm.
missed it, you just missed it, but still it was there.
Right.
Um, and I loved it, even though Queen Zelina tried to get involved or whatever, it didn't work. And Naomi came out with the win. And I'm just really glad to see Naomi in something fresh and
Mhm.
new for a change, outside of her being, the ire of Sonya
Cruella
Deville.
Deville.
And I'm really excited because they did announce next week that it's gonna be Sasha and Zelina fighting, and I'm gonna be there. So
Yep,
it's
yep, yep.
I'm
That's
gonna be
it
there
is happening next week in Alabama, where
in
Stephanie is going to be
Birmingham.
born. Like you get to see this in person, you get to see the boss, you get to see the Glow Queen, you get to see Queen Zelina, you get to see Carmella. I hope she don't put another mask on, but who knows? But you get to see them next week, and we never know who else you might see next week.
All of my
Um,
faves, Jesus. I'm not gonna have a voice left. I'm so happy.
Yes, I definitely agree. It should have been longer
Yeah.
than what it was given, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was a fun match. It's not Team Bad without Tamina, okay? But Naomi and Carmella does have great chemistry. I mean, we've seen them in plenty of matches together. So we know what they are capable of and everything like that. Joseph said Carmella is doing her job. If Stephanie upset about that mess, I think it's more so like, look, we understand that Carmella has been wearing this mask to protect her face from Liv Morgan. She doesn't have to do that any longer. Well, she might want to, but she doesn't have to do that any longer. But like Mika said, I just want to know why it takes two people for the burn victim mask to be put on. And
Mm.
I don't know either. I really don't at all whatsoever. But I mean, it is what it is, honestly. And speaking of is what it is, and what I am tired of seeing are these two here. Happy Corbin and Madcap Mox had a little poker match, well, game going on with a bunch of randoms. That probably work at the performance center. So keep this in mind because we may see these people in the near future on our screen someday. And they kind of just, I guess Madcap Mox trying to, catch up with his jokes or re-up on his jokes or whatever he got to do. Right before we actually got into the match with Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, which was a pretty short match. It wasn't that long. It was like a squash match. And of course, Drew McIntyre ended up winning this match. So, Stephanie, do you think that WrestleMania is going to be the end of this feud between Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss, and Drew McIntyre?
That's hard to say. But I feel like you would think that it would be, considering WrestleMania is a very like I'm trying to find a word. What's the word I'm looking for? Like,
I mean, this is where you kind of build
it's
your
very
feud or continue your
absolute.
feuds. You know, like you kind of just
Yeah.
things continue on even after WrestleMania. But this been going on longer than WrestleMania. This should have stopped
Yeah.
after day one. That was it. We didn't
Yeah.
ask for day what day we on? There's a lot of days we in. We didn't ask for this. We in March now. We didn't ask for this to continue. You guys can chose to continue it.
Yeah, WrestleMania seems like a very absolute place for a feud to end. So I do hope
Mhm.
this does kind of end it. And plus, not to mention, there's also the underlying tension between Moss and Happy Corbin, where I feel
Mhm.
like there might be some type of miscommunication there, and
Yeah.
and then Corbin might wind up losing and might take out his frustrations on Moss, and then that would start a whole new feud.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess they're just giving Drew something to do since he's not in the title picture. So,
Yeah, like
yeah.
Joseph said, yeah, this whole Drew dealing with Madcap and Happy is getting old. This is what we get for SmackDown being the Roman show for the last 100 days. Oh, thank you, Joseph, for doing that. Because speaking of that man, uh, he came in the middle of me eating my pasta and ruined it, and I had to throw it away because it was the fact that he was on my screen. Because first of all, we was gonna get Shinsuke Nakamura, we was gonna get Rick Boogs, you know, whole interest and everything. There was something to happen, but unfortunately, the Usos like to jump people, and that's exactly what they did to Shinsuke and Rick Boogs. They jumped him right before Roman Reigns made his appearance on my screen. That's just like, all right, what is he going to say this week that he hasn't said in his last 600 days of this reign? And of course, he said absolutely nothing. He continued to talk about how he's going to smash and pin and smash and pin and smash and pin. Oh, did I forget to say he's going to smash somebody? Smash and pin, smash and pin. You
You
need to
also
come up with something new.
you forgot about the part where he said he's going to acknowledge me.
Oh,
Me.
right.
Me. Me.
Yes, he threw a tantrum inside of the ring because
Me.
Brock Lesnar will not acknowledge this man. He is
Me.
begging and pleading for Brock to acknowledge him. And it's starting to get like I'm starting to feel like this is a modern day version of when Christian used to throw his tantrums in the ring after losing a match. And this is what Roman is giving. Like your champion, the person who's supposed to be the star of your show, is begging another man to acknowledge him. I'm not understanding.
And you would think Miami acknowledging him would have been enough, you know?
No, he wants Brock Lesnar to acknowledge him.
Like they were cheering him.
They were. I mean, that was it. I mean, hey, he's in his home state. Of course, you're gonna cheer for your home, you know, your home person. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you were begging for this man to acknowledge you. You were pleading, acknowledge me, screaming to the top of your lungs, so you almost cracked your voice of this man acknowledge you. And I don't know, Roman. You know, a lot of people love you and fantasize about you, but I'm not impressed. I'm glad that you're begging for this man to acknowledge you. This definitely shows a lot about you want attention, and when somebody's not giving it to you, you got to do whatever you can just to make them want to give you something. And Brock isn't giving you anything. The only thing he's going to give you is a beatdown at WrestleMania and take your title. But
I
Stephanie, you
don't
can go ahead and feel and differ. But go ahead. I'll let you have it because I already know you're gonna say, I don't disagree. I don't agree to that. But go ahead, Stephanie. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm
you
quiet.
know what, Santana. I
I'll
don't
let you
appreciate you mimicking me like that. That's not how I sound. Oh my god.
I'm gonna zip my lips and I'm going to be
Don't
quiet.
stay doing it. Anyway. You're so funny. I love you. But oh my gosh. Roman did kind of say a lot of the things that, you know, you're kind of used to him saying and sort of, you know, kind of just talking about everything he's done at WrestleMania, especially last year when he had to face off against Edge and Brian Danielson and
Mhm.
whatever. So it was kind of just a repeated type of thing outside of him saying, you know, me over and over again. Um but I just couldn't I was just my mind was blown at the idea that the Usos and then really just disrespected Shinsuke and Rick Boogs like that. Especially after Rick Boogs did his little song entrance
Right.
and was channeling his inner Freddie Mercury and Queen at the Live Aid concert. Like, if you know, you know. But oh
Mhm.
my God, like that just broke my heart. I was like, come on. They were being mad rude. But the bloodline is gonna bloodline, so that's where we're at.
Well, eventually the bloodline must come to an end and flatline. Uh, right. Joseph said Santana is right. This is when I zoned out and played on my computer. I know Roman is a great talker and a great wrestler, but it's starting to affect SmackDown that he is the man for 600 days. And now we have Becky Two Bells Part 2 at Mania. Nikki said child with a lot of ease. Reggie said, Driune, I'm glad you spelled my name right. Praise the Lord. Because sometimes people be in these comments, my name be right there and they will still spell it wrong. So I don't acknowledge you. Driune, this is kind of reminds me of when Velveteen and Alice wanted Aleister Black to say his name. This is true. This is similar. Huh? that was
so
an epic
funny.
year. It was, but honestly, I really enjoyed Velveteen and Aleister Black feud. Like their match was everything. Like
it was stellar.
It was. It definitely was. Chad said Roman 2002 is a Christian 2000. Roman 2022 is like Christian. This look 10 years apart, and I mean it really is, and it sucks because it's just like it is what it is, and hopefully tomorrow they are going to be in MSG, and they're both supposed to be defending their titles. I wish they would stream this because they be making it seem like Madison Square Garden is a really, really big deal when they go to it, but they don't never let us see it. Like we want to know what's going on there too, but whatever, Dodie. I guess we have to get in where we fit in at. And speaking of getting where we fit in at, we finally got this match: the Usos and the Viking Raiders for the tag team titles. I know that the referee was probably fed up because he went a bunch of matches trying to wait for the auto fight. And it was supposed to be happening at Elimination Chamber, but it didn't transpire that way. And so here we are. We finally get it. And of course, the Usos, they end up retaining, which honestly, this was a really good match. The Viking Raiders really almost had the Usos. They like so close to having them. Like they really did. But of course, Usos gonna find a way to retain those titles, and that's exactly what they did. So, Stephanie, what are your thoughts on this match here?
I feel like this match was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be mad if they ran it back again, though.
Yeah,
because I feel like these two tag teams are probably like two of the best ones on the roster. So I feel like if they wanted them to fight each other again, then I wouldn't be mad at it because they actually deserve a little bit more time that they were given here. But it was still pretty good for what it was. Also, I would like to say the Usos look like they belonged in the Wolf Pack.
Yeah, their shirts were really nice. I really did like those shirts. I think they actually have them on WWE Shop right now.
Yeah, and then their pants matched and everything. I was like, y'all
they
would
look
definitely fit in.
Usos. Like if I would have like a ring gear, it would be something like the Usos. If I was a wrestler, like comfortable joggers, want to fight all the time. Yeah, I mean, Sami said he hoped that Shinsuke Nakamura and Boogs take them title, not Boots. Are we talking about Dora the Explorer? When did Boots become a part of a wrestling company? Sam. Joseph said the Usos are at 7.5 months as champion or 229 days. I thought the Viking Raiders would have done it to make this a home run episode, but Usos are a great team, so no complaints. Yeah, Usos they've been with the company for a very, very long time, and they've never split or anything like that. And so I feel like their matches are always they've definitely grown a lot in the ring. They've definitely grown a lot, honestly. So I will say that the Usos will go down as one of the best tag teams in WWE history. I will say that. It should have been Hit Row, but hey, I'll take Rick and Shinsuke. Sam, it should have never been Hit Row. Exactly where they are right now. No longer with us. Usos and Orange Cassidy have the ring gear mastered. They definitely ever do. Sami, once again, the Viking people are a no. Sam, you are a no. Anyway, speaking of a no, this match was definitely not on go because Biggie versus Sheamus, they came out. Of course, this kind of started off with them meeting up backstage, and Biggie and Kofi was on their RV riding around and stuff. And Sheamus and Ridge Hollow was not too fond of that. And of course, with the absence of Xavier or King Woods, Kofi decided that he wanted to make some little noise out there during a singles match and got hit with a chair by Ridge, and Ridge hit the RV, and I don't know what he thought he was doing or what, but it didn't do any damage. And eventually Sheamus and Ridge stole the RV and basically went back in the parking lot and treated this as if this was a vehicle off of GTA, and they damaged it. So then they got to call Morris Mutual to get this repaired because they destroyed the RV. Rest in peace to the RV. It only lived for 2 weeks. We got to make sure we go to the funeral and pay our respects because it is no longer. It is no longer. But next week, we will have a tag match with Big E and Kofi against Ridge and Sheamus. So, I mean, we're starting to build a new feud here between these two. I mean, of course, we've seen Sheamus and Big E and Kofi have had their feuds before, but now we got Ridge involved in this. So I mean, Stephanie, what are your thoughts on this? Like, where do you see this feud going?
I see this feud kind of just going where it normally does go. It's like it goes with the New Day gaining the upper hand and winning. Because I mean, really, Sheamus and Ridge were just doing too much. Like, they were just being like haters for no reason when they saw them back there riding around on their ATV. Is that what it's called? Yeah. I almost said a four-wheeler, but
basically four-wheeler.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like they were just hating and they were just doing too much. And for them to take it and then tear it apart, knowing that that was a gift to Biggie, it's just like that's just very spiteful. So, here again, I hope that in this tag match next week, which I will see, they will get their revenge on Sheamus and Ridge Holland, even though they kind of started this feud a little bit out of nowhere. But sometimes, it be the out of nowhere feuds that wind up being, more than what you thought it was. So I'm hoping that this tag team match is going to be pretty good. But the New Day does have the upper hand because they have more of an experience as a tag team than Sheamus and Ridge Holland do. So, yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like Ridge has some experience being in a tag. He used to tag with Pete Dunne down in NXT, my husband. And of course Ronnie Lucker and somebody else, but like their whole little clique, they used to do tags there. And of course Sheamus has been in plenty of tags before. So I mean, I guess more so like the chemistry of them working together, and they've done pretty well for themselves. So I mean, I'm not surprised about that. What I am tired of is Drew McIntyre and his doggone sword he keep carrying around like he did backstage, and I almost thought Happy Corbin was out of there because he was back there. They was back there playing darts, minding their business, and Drew decided to stick his sword inside of the dart, and I thought that was like, police help. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you out here trying to kill these folks? Honestly, truly. And now we have made it to our main event. The women close out the show tonight. Whoop, whoop. So shout out to that. The women are closing out the show on SmackDown Live. And of course, it was a big thing because this was the first time Ronda Rousey wrestled on SmackDown. And so they made a big thing about this. And she faced Sonya Deville. Sonya had a very, very cute little outfit. It kind of reminded me of Stephanie McMahon in some kind of way. It really did. There were some similarities in her outfit. And of course, Ronda comes out in her iconic Ronda Rousey gear that she always wear. I thought it was a short match. Honestly, truly, for Sonya to supposedly be a MMA fighter, I don't see any of that in her wrestling skills right now. Like from prior to Sonya Deville, when like she was with Absolution and just her and Mandy with Fire and Desire, her punching the air, and I guess the air was losing or she was losing. One of them was not winning. Sonya was 0-25 because the air was kicking her behind every week. But I just feel like Sonya, she doesn't, her I don't know if it's because she's kind of rusty or something, or she hasn't really been in the ring that much, but her ring style in the beginning is way better than what it is right now. I don't know what she's doing, but it's terrible. It's terrible. Ronda, I can tell that she's been getting some training in, so she is doing a little bit better. But am I still fond of her? No. But it was a really nice match, and of course, Sonya ended up tapping out. And Sonya wasn't the only person who tapped out tonight. Charlotte Flair also did make her appearance. She made herself be known that, look, if you honestly think that I'm not going to be here at the end of the show, it's not happening. And well, she came, she saw, and she tapped. And I don't know. I don't know. Like, hello? Hello. I mean, like, wow. That's how we close out the show for Smash. Stephanie, your thoughts on this match with Sonya and Ronda, and then Charlotte, of course, coming out and being on commentary for a little bit. She said she was not impressed with the armbar that Ronda gave to Sonya. Yeah.
This match was pretty short, and I did expect it to be longer because it's like you alluded to earlier, you know, Sonya always likes to brag about all of the MMA background that she may have had before she started, you know, in wrestling via Tough Enough or whatever. And it's like, I guess because she's been an official for so long at this point that maybe it's kind of hard. She's just getting her bearings, and maybe, you know, there's grace to be given for that in a sense, because of course, you know, when it comes to that, we know a little bit as to why. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, ma'am, you really, you know, got in Ronda's face and was pointing in her face and trying to use your power and stuff, and then try to sway the ref or whatever. And then you thought, you know, you were doing okay when Charlotte came out there, but Miss Ma'am, you still lost, and you still got your arm bent backwards and you tapped out. So yeah, I mean, Sonya might need to go back to the drawing board a little bit and figure out what she wants to do and where her heart actually lies. Like, does it lie in wrestling, or does it lie in abusing the power that you've been given as an official? Yeah. And something that I didn't like while Charlotte was on commentary was the fact that they kept alluding, and even at the beginning, they kept alluding to Charlotte never having been tapped out. And we all know that that's not accurate. That is not accurate, because there's somebody on that roster who has tapped Charlotte out, and that's Sasha. Like, she tapped her out plenty of times, I'm pretty sure, in NXT, and she's also tapped her out like when she first won the Raw Women's title. That's Sasha. So I mean, stop. Why are you guys perpetuating this lie? Like, stop it. But then even Ronda even still made her tap out in high heels at that, because she thought she was gonna do something. But she did it, and then she put her in an ankle lock, and then Charlotte was screaming and tapping, and she left the ring, and Ronda looked kind of dominant there. So I mean, it's whatever. Also, shout out to Ronda and her gear. It said Hot Mama for a change, and not Hot Rod. So yeah, that was cool. Yeah, Charlotte's been tapped out, guys. Let's not perpetuate this lie.
Well, you know how WWE, they like to kind of ignore the what has happened like years ago and kind of focus on it now. I thought maybe they were alluding to maybe Ronda has never tapped out Charlotte or something like that, or maybe they never tapped out each other, you know, when they've had their encounter the first time and whatnot. So maybe I thought that that's what they were alluding to, that part. I never knew that they were saying that Charlotte's never tapped out ever in her entire life, because there's proof that has taken place.
Right.
But to say that, you know, and of course it happened by Sasha and whatnot. But I just thought that maybe they were saying that it was Ronda that never tapped out Charlotte, or
Maybe so, because that is true. She has never tapped out Charlotte.
Yeah, neither.
Yeah.
I don't think neither one of them have tapped out to each other.
They have.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But Nikki has an interesting saying that Ronda is losing at WrestleMania. Not will lose, or will probably lose, but she is losing at WrestleMania. Nikki implied it a lot, and of course, Nikki is our resident Charlotte Flair fan. Of course, definitely not only a fan of Charlotte, but definitely the four in general. But yeah, I mean, that was SmackDown. It was a pretty decent show. It was a lot that transpired tonight. And they'll be in Birmingham, Alabama next week. So Stephanie would definitely just to let you guys know, me and Stephanie will not be here next week. Just gonna put that out there before we jump to our next show. Neither one of us will be here. Stephanie will be at Friday Night SmackDown next week. And of course, I'll be at some hosting things in the music world or whatever. So just let you know, there will be somebody else here, but it won't be us. But yeah, you guys will definitely find out who that would be next week. And as we jump into Rampage of the night, like SmackDown's pretty good. Rampage, this was live, so there's no spoilers. You just had to be there watching it. And of course, Rampage started off with, of course, Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara versus Andrade for the TNT title. And this match started out, and it was really, really, really good. I mean, we kind of got a sense of like Darby Allin kind of turning heel a little bit, but Sammy actually ended up retaining his title on tonight. What did you think about this match, Stephanie, with this opening of the show?
This match was stellar. I really enjoyed it. It's so funny because just last week I was talking about how much better I wanted Andrade to do. Going up against Sami, if he were to ever go up against him again.
Yeah.
And in this case, it was him and Darby, but he did so much better. And that was something I really, was looking for, in terms of his performance. He did really good. And Sammy Guevara really shocked the crap out of me in some places, especially at the very end where it looked like he was, thrown outside the ring by Darby and he was trying to get the cover. And then he tried to get the cover on Andrade again. And then all of a sudden, Sammy just jumped out of nowhere, like out of the sky, out of the top of the ceiling. And broke up that count and then covered Darby for the 1, 2, 3 and retained his title. This match was really, really good. I enjoyed it. But then you could kind of see that there was some, anger between Darby Allin and Sammy because of course they have their trios match coming up Sunday. And he was just like, bro, like it was almost like, he felt like he couldn't trust him and that they weren't gonna be on the same page. But I mean, when it's, for your title, it's every man for himself. So maybe Darby won't take it as personally going into Sunday, but it didn't look good tonight. But either way, the match was absolutely great. Andrade did so much better in showing all of his, athletic tools outside of his heavyweight work, and showing more of his lucha background. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. Joseph said, I don't know if TK was desperate that matches would fall out for Sunday, but we entered this show. If any shenanigans happen, those involved would get fined and suspended big time. Woo, good God. And then he also stated that this triple threat kicked butt big time. I don't know why this isn't on Sunday and the Texas Tornado 6-man wasn't tonight. That I'm not sure. Maybe they felt as if like that match would have been a little bit bigger than what it was. And I mean, I wouldn't have minded seeing this triple threat match actually take place on AEW Revolution, which we're going to get into that because we're going to run down the match card and give you guys some of our predictions on who we think is going to win their matches on Sunday. So let's move forward into our next match. Of course, the limitless Keith Lee versus the wingmen's JD Drake. This match was pretty interesting. It was a lot of shenanigans going on. People were getting involved in this match and whatnot, but nonetheless, Keith Lee looked powerful and strong, and he slung that man outside the ring per usual. He's known for now slinging men off like Isaiah. I mean, I pray for him still to this day because he got slung very, very far and very, very high. And so did that man who I don't know his name, but he definitely looks like a 70s, somebody who's like back in the 70s type gimmick. But nonetheless, this was a pretty good way to kind of start building Keith Lee into like building his record and, you know, getting more eyes on him, even though he already has the eyes, but more so getting eyes on him. And like I said, building up his record, getting him some matches in so that maybe, you know, eventually he can continue to level up a lot more, get into some really good feuds. And, you know, maybe somewhere down the line, Keith Lee could be holding a title somewhere. I don't know if it'd be like the AEW World title or it'd be like the TNT title or something of that nature. But I wouldn't mind seeing Keith Lee kind of, you know, continue to grow in this feud and whatnot. So what do you think about this match?
This match was kind of a learning experience for me because I hadn't seen JD Drake fight before.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never really heard of him prior to tonight. But it was still pretty good. It seemed like, you know, he was really game for going up against someone like Keith Lee because they almost seemed like they were both very, you know, beefy together, even though, of course, you know, Keith was a little bit beefier than he was. But still, he still did a pretty good job in that match, even though Keith came out the victor amidst some shenanigans or whatever. And this was, you know, a really good look for Keith because, you know, he has to go into that ladder match to qualify to be the face of the Revolution and on Sunday. So this was a good look for Keith. Yeah, just he's a Superman. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I actually missed something before we actually got to this match. So, House of Black was in the ring, made their appearance in the ring with the dark triangle. And of course, we had unsuspected surprise tonight. A lot of you guys may be familiar with Eric Rowan, part of the Wyatt family back in WWE, but he's in AEW right now. And he made his appearance on tonight. And as I saw, I was like, oh man, I just wish Brody Lee was like here. Cause I feel like it would have been like, it would have been like such a nice moment for them. But I was like, yeah, it would have been great. But it was nice to see Eric make his appearance here in AEW. I don't know if he's all elite yet, but he did make his appearance. And obviously he's on the Death Triangle side because he went out there. He tried to go after House of Black, but he couldn't get his hands on it because there was a bunch of security guards who always find their way in the way. So I mean, I'm happy to see Eric. I don't know if he's going to actually be staying or anything of that nature, but I mean, it was a nice segment. I'm into seeing how all of this is going to play out, and I will send my prayers to that security guard who probably got his arm rearranged by Penta. Because he used that man's arm like a slingshot, and it definitely looked painful. It looked very painful. I don't want that to ever happen to me. If that's the only way to pop my shoulder back in place, just leave it alone. Because I don't want it. I don't want it at all. Nope. Not whatsoever. Stephanie, would you want that to happen to you? Because I know I wouldn't. I don't know how I would feel. That can hurt me.
Not at all. I am not a pain person at all. That's why I admire wrestlers and people in security so very much because it's just like I guess there are just levels of pain that you just have to be used to that you can take, you know, in order to do something like that, you know, for a living. I respect them so much because I cannot stand pain. And when I saw the dark triangle standing in the ring, I was just like, these people look like, especially even with Pac, because he was the only person I recognized out of that trio.
Yeah.
I was just like, they look like they belong on an episode of American Horror Story. And it was just, and they just looked really scary. And then on top of that, you had House of Black coming out there too. It was just almost like the Battle of the Darkness here.
It
Like,
was definitely the Battle of Darkness.
right. It's like Hell versus Hell 2.0. And I'm just, and I was just along for the ride and I was just accepting it. But I was happy to see Eric Redbeard because I hadn't really seen him since the Brody Lee tribute episode.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see him, be a part of everything. So yeah.
Same. I definitely agree. And as we jump into our only women's match on here for the night, of course, the Professor Serena Deeb did her 5-minute challenge on tonight, and her opponent just so happens to be Leela Gray. She's actually been someone who's been wrestling on AEW Dark and AEW Elevation. And other companies as well. Shout out to Bobby for putting that in the chat for us. And she thought she was a little smart, running this out of the ring, run out the ring, but eventually she got caught, and she eventually tapped out to Serena Deeb, and Serena Deeb tried to attack her, but she got a rude awakening because the return of her rival, Sheeta, with her kendo, beat that woman across the table like your mom used to probably beat you as a kid if you did something wrong and tell you not to move, go to your room and don't come out because that's what I told you to do. And that's exactly what happened. But I mean, hey, Sheeta is back, and it looks like their feud will continue on for I don't know how long. I feel like this is probably one of the other longest feuds we've kind of been having in AEW with Sheeta and Serena Deeb. So I mean, the return of Sheeta, she's back. Hair looks great. I really liked it. I was like, dang, this reminds me of how my hair used to be, but I'm gonna have to go back to it. So Sheeta's back, Stephanie, and she's coming for Serena Deeb.
Yeah, I enjoyed that comeback because it's just like watching Serena, punish, Layla Gray.
Leela, I think, is it Leela or Layla? It's one of them. I think it's Leela Gray. The way it's spelled, it looks like Leela.
Yeah, like, and then she was, and watching her add insult to injury was kind of bad. I was just like, girl, leave her alone. You've already beat her. And then just to see Sheeta, come back, who's like her one true rival, and proceed to beat her up with a kendo stick and look good doing it because that suit was fire.
It was.
It was so cute. And then her eye makeup was super cute too because it said "I'm back" with flowers, all around and everything. I was just like, okay, girl. I feel like I'll almost never get tired of these two fighting each other. They're almost like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, and like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Tom and Jerry. You just never get tired of watching these two fight. No. So I'm pumped for it.
Never. So, and speaking of pumped for or getting punked out, Jade Cargill did a backstage interview before we jumped to our main event of the night. She did a backstage interview, and Tony Schiavone asked her about, her match with Ty Conti on Sunday, and she said, "Ain't nobody worrying about that beat and her karate sidekick." And of course, Anna Jay made her appearance, and short after, Ty Conti made her appearance as well by big booting Jade in the face, and it was a very interesting boot. And she said she's coming for that title, so be ready, Jade. I guess I'm interested in this just to see Jade. To be honest, I mean, of course, I don't think they're gonna let Jade lose that title because she's up here right now, and everybody is like on Jade right now. Like she is starting to become like a little bit of like your face of AEW. What did you think about the backstage segment? But we're not gonna give our predictions yet before we actually go to the match card. But it was like Mika said, was poochies. I don't know what poochies is, but
yeah, I was a little bit confused by the segment because I think at one point Smart Mark was trying to say that there was somewhere in the contract where they couldn't touch Jade or whatever or something, in the 48 hours leading up to their match, but then somehow or another they still wound up touching Jade. So I was very confused by that. And then I also felt weird about the both of them calling each other the B word multiple times. It was just kind of like
Yeah,
extra. It was almost like adding a whole lot of salt for no reason
just in yeah,
onto a
it's just
dish.
salty.
And I was just like, yeah, let's just stop this. I mean, I understand y'all don't like each other, but stop. Please. It's enough. But outside of that, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, Mika said the no touch clause ended 48 hours for the match.
Okay, see,
So
I was still, yeah, okay. Thanks, but I was just really confused by it. So,
yeah, it was something. I mean, I'm happy I'm ready to see Jade, of course, as always, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll be a little interesting. And now, you guys, we are here for, in the words of Mark Henry, the main event. Of course, we had Ethan Page, and of course, my favorite, Christian Cage, in their qualifying match for the face of the Revolution. And of course, Christian Cage came out with the win. This was a really, really good match. I always like Christian. He's always been a really, really great wrestler, despite the gimmicks that he was given. He knows how to play his part, and Ethan Page is a great competitor as well. I've watched some of his matches. He's pretty good. So to see these two collide together, it was really, really good. I was excited to see this match, and happy that Christian picked up the win, but not for long. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus came out, with their tag titles, because they will be defending them this on Sunday. And of course, the Young Bucks and their Miami style of thrifting clothing that they always tend to wear every week. I just think they just roll out of their bed and just say, "Hey, bro, you want to wear this today? Yeah, sure, let's go." And it's just like, I don't know what it is, but they are the worst dressers I ever seen in my entire life. And of course, we have the Red Dragons, who are looking oppositely opposite of what the Young Bucks normally wear. And we see a little scuffle that takes place, and everybody's laid out on the ground except for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. So I mean, it is what it is. But what are your thoughts on this match here before we jump into our predictions?
yeah, this match was relatively good. Like, I feel like Christian Cage can just never really have a bad match because he's just that guy.
Right.
He's just, that guy that you can just count on. So it didn't really surprise me when he won this match, even though, mind you, this was my first time seeing Ethan Page fight.
Mhm.
He still did a really good job, and he was very mouthy. He was
Very.
yelling
He
at the
does talk a
crowd.
lot.
Yeah, he was yelling at the crowd a whole lot and talking about how he's a future Hall of Famer, which I don't doubt.
Mhm.
But this isn't the time for that.
Right.
If
Not now.
you're fighting an actual future Hall of Famer who could very well be one, in a matter of
Mhm.
maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So Christian really did his very best, and now he's qualified for the Face of the Revolution ladder match. And I was happy to see Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus come out to celebrate with him, but other tag teams got to spoil stuff for folks.
Of course.
So yeah, it was pretty good though.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. So Wednesday on AEW, we have Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Sky for the TV title. And plus, Paige Van Zant joins AEW, which I can care less about her. But
Why?
I don't know. Like she just don't do it for me. I mean, I've seen her be involved in certain feuds or whatever. I really wasn't too much of a fan of the whole American Dream that they had going on, and against the Inner Circle. I did not care for that. Like, it was just
Okay.
it was terrible. Yes, Mika, secondhand clothing, that's what the Young Bucks be wearing. So that's what they be wearing. But guys, that was the end of Rampage. So let's jump into these predictions. I didn't find the photos of them, so I'm pretty much going to run down the match card for tonight. For Sunday for you guys. So I'm just going to go in order of how I see it on my screen. So we have the AEW World Championship, Hangman Page versus Adam Cole, Bebe, of course. For the AEW World Championship, that's going to be main eventing on Sunday. So, Stephanie, I'm going with Adam Cole because I am the Adam Cole of our own little undisputed era. I was secondhand I was picked as first choice because there's no other choice. So Stephanie, who do you think is going to win between this match, Adam or Adam?
I'm gonna say probably more likely Adam Cole. Because I feel like as a champion, even though I won't discredit him because I know he has worked, really hard in his career to have this type of opportunity. It's just that him as a champion, even though he has had good matches, he hasn't really like grabbed me fully as a champ. And I don't know if it's just because I'm new to AEW or not, but it's just he hasn't fully like grasped me as a champion. So maybe Adam Cole would probably take it off of him. So I just say Adam Cole.
And I mean, honestly, since Hangman Page has won the title from Kenny Omega, his run hasn't been that great. Like he's kind of hasn't really been on TV. He hasn't really been defending his title that much. He just kind of just pops up when he pops up. So I think that if Adam Cole does win, it will bring more relevance because we're always saying Adam Cole any type of way. You guys let me know in the chat who you think who you predict that's going to win this AEW World title. Would it be Hangman Page or Adam Cole? Joseph said he's going with Hangman Page. Bobby said he's going to go with Adam Cole. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how this match is going to go, but I am rooting for Adam Cole. I do. Honestly, truly, I really do. Let's see. Billy says Cole. Page doesn't have the it factor. Joseph said it's not Heyman's fault. His reign hasn't been great. Creator doesn't seem to want us to get behind him as champ. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were pretty happy when he did win the title, but it's kind of like everything else kind of just went down the toilet. And I mean, I don't know. Like a lot of people still, even without creative, a lot of people still do tend to be behind these wrestlers. But AEW crowd is a little bit different. You have to be on their screen. You have to be somewhere in their eyes where they feel like you are worth still holding this title. And Adam Cole just so happened to be there. Majority of the time, Adam Cole's on my screen more than Hangman Page. So I mean, if they feel like Adam is the one who should take the title off him, then hey, this could open up a door for like a Kenny Omega to eventually make his return. Right? There's a lot of story that could go on in this feud somehow, some type of way. Even if Adam Cole doesn't win and Hangman Page still retains his title, there's still something there that could continue to build this feud all the way up to Double or Nothing. And eventually, Kenny Omega, like I said, could make his return. This could end up being a triple threat match for this title. And Adam Cole wins, baby, at Double or Nothing or something. So it's a lot that could probably play into it. It just all depends on creative wise. Next up, we've kind of had a little bit of discussion over the weeks of the AEW Women's World Championship, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus, of course, Thunder Rosa. I mean, me personally, I'm kind of like, I like Britt Baker. I'm not that much of a fan of Thunder Rosa, but I'm also in the middle because it really, honestly, to me, it doesn't matter who wins this match. I just know that it's going to be great. Stephanie, I kind of feel like I know what your pick is, but I'm going to let you let them know. And you guys in the audience, well, not in the audience, but in the chat, let us know who you think is going to win, Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa for this AEW Women's World Champion.
I feel like Thunder Rosa might do it. Like, I really feel like Thunder Rosa really does have a good opportunity here to try to take the title off of Britt Baker. I would be disappointed if it goes another way, if it goes where Britt winds up retaining it. But the only way I won't be disappointed is if Britt has to face someone else afterward. And considering a certain AEW boss made a certain acquisition, and Britt should have to face that final boss. And y'all know who that final boss is.
None other than, I guess I'm going to say, Deonna Purrazzo.
Exactly.
Which I wouldn't mind seeing that, I mean, hey, Tony Khan does own Ring of Honor. Deonna Purrazzo is a Ring of Honor champion.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty sure eventually we're going to have some people making their appearances somehow, some way. Sami says that Britt Baker, he chooses Britt Baker. Thunder Rosa is injured, so she would be adding another check to win the column. Joseph says, I am 51 through 49 on this. I want Thunder Rosa to win it. Dr. Britt Baker reign hasn't been that impressive. AEW loves to have long reigns to the point they back themselves into a corner. I want Rosa to win. Well, okay. Bobby says Dr. Britt Baker will retain her title. We won't know until Sunday comes, so I'm pretty excited to see what transpires with that. Next, we have the AEW Tag Team Championship, Jurassic Express, which sometimes I call them Jurassic Park. Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championships. I personally will definitely be going with the Red Dragons to win. That is my pick. Stephanie, what is yours? And you guys in the chat, let us know.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus because I feel like if Red Dragon wins and if the Young Bucks both if the Young Bucks win, they'll both be completely insufferable if they do. So I'm hoping that Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus wins.
I agree. Backing up to what back to Britt and Thunder. Adam says I don't really like Thunder Rosa, but the crowd likes her. Britt is kind of getting boring as entertaining as she is. Fair enough. Joseph said he wants Jurassic Express to retain. He thinks the thing is both challenging. Challengers will be desperate to make Adam Cole happy. To be this match is more about where does Cole have his alliance with. This is true.
Yep,
I mean, of course, if you look at it, since Adam Cole has been in AEW, he's been around the Young Bucks. When he made his AEW debut, he was out there with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. As soon as Bobby Fish came, took a minute before we kind of saw them have an interaction. Eventually, they had an interaction. He persuaded Bobby to be a part of their alliance there. Then Kyle came, and when we saw basically Kyle, Bobby, and Adam in the ring, in the sense of what they usually used to do back in NXT. So, I mean, to me, honestly, I just feel like it's right with the Red Dragons and Adam Cole. He fits with them. He looks like a leader when he's with the Red Dragons because they know their place. The Young Bucks just be everywhere. You know, it's just like Adam Cole's kind of pushed to the back and everything. But when he's with the Red Dragons, they know their place. They are a tag, and Adam is a single star. They're a faction. They work together. It just looks better that way. But we really don't know if it will happen that way, where we will have the Red Dragons win the tag titles and then have Adam Cole win the world title. We don't know. There's a lot of things that could happen. Kenny Omega could show up on Sunday and make his return. And the Young Bucks could be, it's a lot that can happen. And I mean, I agree that they're about to have good around their waist and gold around their waist. And it could definitely take place on Sunday. As we move forward to AEW TBS Championship with Jade Cargill and Tay Conti, which is kind of spun out of nowhere. I mean, Jade was basically looking for her next challenger. Tay Conti came out. I'm ready to take that title off you, and here we are. What I am happy about is that we're getting like 2-3 women's matches on tomorrow. We're getting 2 on the pay-per-view and then 1 on the buy-in that's going to take place before Revolution comes on. So I mean, Jade or Tay Conti, is Jade going to retain, or will we have a new champion? Let me know what you guys think in the chat. And Stephanie, let me know what you think. I'm going with Jade automatically.
I'm going with Jade automatically.
There's no questions. There is no question about that, honestly. But I have to ask.
Not really to discredit Ty, because I mean she is really good and she has improved in
Mhm.
her ring ability, but it's Jade time.
Yeah. Unless they have somebody who's like way bigger that can be Jay's opponent and take that title off her. But right now, I don't see that happening right now. I really don't.
I
Um,
mean, unless they try to work out something with NWA and get Camille, but I don't know how that'll happen.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it at all whatsoever. I don't. Chad said he'll like Ty well Tay Conti to win, but he predicts Jade. Sam said Jade. He feels like someone that's going to be surprised is going to take that title. And Bobby says Jade as well. Joseph said he wants Tay to win, but the way TK has been pushing Jade, she'll win. I do agree. I mean, Jade is literally at the top right now. She's been having more matches defending her title than Britt Baker has. So I mean, like every week is like, or every other week is like Jade is defending her title, being seen on TV. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, hey, she's really, really pushing it to the moon and whatnot. Jade could beat Brickhouse Camille. I mean, they're both powerhouse women. So I mean, and we can definitely see the growth in Jade as her wrestling skills and whatnot. She's definitely been growing, training with Brian Danielson, and you can definitely see some type of improvement in her ring skills. So I mean, hey, Camille, she's a beast over in NWA. So I mean, if these two ever get a chance to lock up, I think it might be Jay's best match or best opponent if that does happen.
Right.
Sami said he's feel like whoever debuts at the Casino Battle Royale is going to be Jay's next opponent. That's possible. It definitely could happen. I would not be opposed to it. I would definitely be here for it, to be honest. Next we have Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. Oh man, I am excited to see this match. Bryan Danielson's kind of been on his going into like a little heel side of things. I mean, since Moxley been back, and shout out to Moxley because I mean, you know, he went away for a few minutes, got himself together, and now he's back like better than ever. And so I'm pretty excited to see how this match is going to go. I don't really know. Like I'm in the middle with them because I like both. So I don't feel like I could bet against either one. I just feel like this match is going to be really, really good. What about you, Stephanie, and everybody in the chat as well?
I feel like this match is going to be really good. I feel like Jon Moxley is going to win because I feel like he has the most to really prove in this singles match. Because, yeah, I feel like it's probably the biggest match he's had since he's returned from recovery. So I feel like he has the most to prove. So I feel like Jon Moxley will win.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a lot to prove. He definitely has a lot to let people know that, hey, I'm back. I've been doing my thing. And you guys should definitely know that I'm not playing around at all whatsoever. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let me know in the chat what you guys think as we move on to one of the matches and this feud that has been quite interesting. And definitely what happened on Wednesday, it definitely set the tone of how this match is going to take place. So we have CM Punk versus MJF in a dog collar match. And by the looks of how bloody and busted open CM Punk was on Wednesday, and the feud and the promos they've been cutting against each other, it's been really, really good. And I really don't know. Like I like MJF and I'm a huge fan of CM Punk. I don't know. Like I feel like whichever way this match goes, I would be happy. I do. Why you look like this?
I feel like this match has me the most it's like I am very invested in this match,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm scared because I just don't know how much farther they can go than they've already gone. Because it's just like it's like when everything happened the way it happened the week
Mm-hmm.
before, and then you had
Right.
this week on Wednesday when they were talking to each other and then they hugged and then MJF played him
Mm-hmm. He
and
did.
then destroyed him and cut him and tried to and oh my god, it was just a lot and it was real emotional and it was just like, oh my god, is MJF the devil?
Hey, that
Yeah.
man is on a whole nother level, and I don't even think that we've seen what MJF is really capable of.
He's
We
Satan.
really don't know. I mean, this could be just like part one of
He's
what MJF could be capable of by what he did to CM Punk. So now
yes,
it's like, what is CM? How will CM Punk go to a whole nother level on Sunday to beat MJF?
did you see that
Or
promo that CM Punk cut
CM Punk was
today?
like, he was not he's not playing no more. Like he's not playing with that man anymore. And Sunday is definitely going to show that we're probably going to see a different side of CM Punk, and we're definitely going to see more to what MJF did to him on Wednesday. Definitely are. What do you guys think? Did y'all think? Do you think CM Punk is going to win this match, or do you think MJF is going to like straight dog this man out? No pun intended with the dog collar match, but dog him out.
And reach the second level of Hades.
Definitely. Going back to Bryan Danielson and John Moxley, Reggie says that he thinks Bryan is going to win because I don't think they'll have him lose 2 feuds in a row. And Bobby said that Bryan Danielson will win. Yeah. I mean, I don't like I said. I'm in the middle with some of these matches where I'm just like I'm just ready to see what's going to take place. I feel like AEW, they do really really good with stacking up their matches, and they do really really well with them. Speaking of doing really well, I really want this to be over. The next one is Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston. I personally am not the biggest fan of Eddie Kingston. I could honestly care less about him. And of course, I love Chris Jericho. That was my first love, as always. So, and y'all bullied that man to get in shape, and he did. So now y'all can't say nothing else about him. But this feud, it's been carrying on for a minute now, and I mean the promos that they cut against each other, you know, Eddie Kingston is more on the, I guess, relatable side when it comes to cutting his promos or talking about how he got a GED and and so on and so forth. But Chris Jericho did eat him up in that promo that they had I think it was 2 Wednesdays or two episodes of Dynamite ago. He ate that man up, honestly. And loose ankles, Eddie Kingston is what Mika like to call him. It's going to be a very interesting match between these two. I feel like somebody may get involved in this match. I feel like it could be Santana and Ortiz that could get involved in this match because they're not too fond of Chris Jericho right now either. And the Inner Circle is really not in a circle like that anymore. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with Chris Jericho. I'm always on Chris Jericho's side. Chris Jericho does no wrong in my life at all.
I'm going with Eddie Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
I have my reasons, but I'm just going with Eddie Kingston.
I would love to hear your reasons why you would go with Eddie Kingston.
They cannot be discussed on here.
Oh dear God. Is there a appropriate way of saying it?
No.
All right. I was gonna think that. Okay, Bobby says Chris Jericho. Bobby says CM Punk. Well, I can't really go into why I hate Eddie Kingston. I just said I just don't care for him. He just don't do it for me. I think he's boring. He just sounds the same all the time. He just don't do nothing for me. As we move forward to the Face of Revolution ladder match. We have Keith Lee versus Orange Cassidy versus Powerhouse Hobb versus Ricky Starks versus Wardlow versus Christian Cage, because Christian Cage did win his match tonight. Whew, that is a lot of names. And I think Keith Lee is probably going to win this match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's new there. He's new. Orange Cassidy would be nice. Ricky Starks would be nice. Even Powerhouse Hall. Everybody in this match would be really nice to win, to be the face of Revolution. But it's obvious that Keith Lee is probably going to win this match. It's very possible.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't win this match, he'll still put on a great showing for it.
Yeah.
He's still gonna try his level best, to win, regardless.
He might do a flip off the ladder. You just never know what Keith Lee is capable of. He's done some high flying moves before.
Yes.
For his size at that, he's done. You never know what he's gonna pull out the bag. And I think I really want to see him and Powerhouse Hobbs lock up. We have three big men. We have three big men in this match. Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Wardlow. Three big men in this match that could really, big meaty men slapping meat. It's a lot of a lot of things that's transpiring with these with them. But I'm definitely gonna go with Keith Lee. Stephanie's going with Keith Lee. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Who is gonna win between that match? Next, we have, of course, one of Stephanie's faves. We have Andrade, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting in a Tornado Trio Tag match. Me personally, I'm probably going to go with Darby Allin's team because I'm just a fan of Darby Allin. I really am. I already gave the background of why I'm a fan of him. He throws his body wherever he chooses to throw it, and I like it. I like it, but I already know who Stephanie's gonna go with. We already know, but I know, but they don't know. So Stephanie, let them know who do you think is gonna win this match?
I think that the Hardy family office is going to win because that's family. It's all about family.
What are you, Vin Diesel? This is not no Fast and Furious movie.
La Familia.
I was screaming. Bobby, going back to the ladder match. Bobby says that he feels that Wardlow's gonna win. Joseph hopes they have some extra big ladders. I do too, because Lord, them little baby ladders that they be using is not appropriate. Them things are gonna break immediately. Keith Lee will probably feud with Team Taz after Revolution, and Wardlow will become TNT champion. That's interesting. Bobby says Darby Allin team. All right, Bobby, we might be on to something. Nothing against Matt Hardy, but I just love Darby Allin. I really do. But who knows? Like I said, there's a lot of things that's transpiring, and anything can happen. Chad says Stephanie is Team Extreme. Yes. And that's actually the end of it. So those are pretty much all of the whole match card that's supposed to take place on Sunday's Revolution. You guys would definitely need to be tuning in. So that brings us to the end of SmackDown and Rampage after show with a little bit of AEW Revolution's predictions. You can guys still drop your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to win or who you would want to win. This month, as for Women's Wrestling Talk, before we get out of here, is Women's History Month, and our writers team is writing some amazing articles. They have been dropping since Tuesday, March 1st, and they're going to continue to drop throughout March. We're getting ready to do our countdown to WrestleMania, so some of our writers are working on their favorite WrestleMania moments, matches, and we're going to be flooding your timeline with those moments as well as moments that took place in history for Women's History Month. Stephanie will be contributing an article that I think you guys will actually like because this person name similar to her name. And if you don't know who that person is, then you definitely have not been watching wrestling for a very, very long time. And that's okay. We understand. But the writers have been doing an amazing job. There's still more articles to come. Today, Nikki, a senior writer, she wrote a very, very thoughtful article on the Four Horsewomen, titled Four, and we dropped it on March 4th. And it's really, really going to be good. So with Hook and QT Marshall and Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch, that match is going to be happening for buy-in. And so that's going to take place before the actual pay-per-view for Revolution. So I'm going to go with Hook and I'm going to go with Chris Statlander. Who are you going to go with, Stephanie, between these two matches?
I'm going to go with Hook and Layla Hirsch.
All right, here we go. Those are our predictions. See, quick, fast, in a hurry. But though we're dropping a lot of articles, we do have some panels that's coming up for this month. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. You definitely do. So good. It's just a lot of things that we have happening this month for Women's History Month that you guys do not want to miss. We really, really do. See some people saying Hook and Chris Statlander. Somebody, Wilson, said he's predict Layla. Kudos to y'all. So yeah, that is it. And Stephanie, let everyone know where they can find you at.
Well, thank you for having me again, Santana. Know that you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy.
Awesome. Stephanie, Nikki says she got QT. Of course, she's been fond of QT for a minute. We know why. As for me, I always say you can Google me, Driune Santana. My name is right there. Even if you spell it Driune or Druine, I will still pop up because sometimes people spell my name incorrectly and it's now in the system. So if you type it in either way, I still pop up. Honestly, it's terrible, but I pop up that way. So you find me on Instagram and Twitter, just type in Driune and I will definitely pop up. Until next time, make sure you guys follow. Make sure you check out our website, women'swrestlingtalk.com. Make sure you follow all of our socials, WWE Talk Pod. We're everywhere, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're on all social media platforms. We're on LinkedIn. We are everywhere. And we're definitely going to be coming and taking over WrestleMania. Please know that the Salt Shakers are definitely in the building for WrestleMania. So I hope you guys are ready, honestly, because it's a lot that's going to take place that you do not want to miss. So yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this Friday. And we'll see you the week after next, because we won't be here. Or basically you guys see me Monday for Monday Night Raw, because I am on there. I'm a free agent. I get to go whatever I want. Ain't nobody controlling me.
Ain't nobody controlling me either. Sometimes I pop up every now and again as well. But as far as this coming Friday, I won't be here because I will be at SmackDown.
Stephanie's making her debut at SmackDown live in Alabama. So make sure you might run into Stephanie. You never know. You might see her there. You never know. But see you guys the week after next.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.